And welcome, folks, to the show, the Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine, the podcast, where we talk about the people, the trends, and the news that you want to hear that'll feed your mind, your body, and your spirit. So, thank you for being a part of the show, and let's get going with the show here. So, on the show today, we're going to be talking about some interesting things. If I can get my music right. If you notice, folks, we've been kind of moving the show back and forth, trying to figure out where the best place to actually to video the show. And I guess and I'm listening to a friend of mine who was talking about this before, and he said, "Sure, it really doesn't matter where you video it. It just that's not a big deal where you video your show at. The big idea is really to get the great information out to people." And so that's really what we're going to be focusing on more than anything else, is really what the content is of the show. And so today we're actually going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to talk a little bit about Mark Cuban, because Mark Cuban has got a really just a great article. And Mark Cuban's talking about this thing he's called, what does he call it? It's an interesting, gosh, it's called the knowledge advantage, leveraging the knowledge advantage. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that. We'll talk Damon John. Damon John has some advice for business owners. And Damon John, if you don't know who he is also a part of the whole Shark Tank thing. So we love Damon John. And finally, if we get a chance, we're going to talk a little bit about 5 things you should think about before promoting someone to being on your executive team. And that's really important stuff. So sit back, relax, folks. We're going to talk a little bit about that on today's Black Success Magazine podcast, hosted by me, Sherman Ray. Well, folks, Mark Cuban is one of those guys, and he's really been around for a long time. And one of the things he talks about is the knowledge advantage. And if you don't know what the knowledge advantage is, this is something that a lot of really super rich guys know that they have. That and he said something very interesting one time. He said, "You know what, guys? I have this business. In my business, I can borrow money. I can do all kinds of things that a lot of other guys cannot take advantage of." And so when he talks about stuff like that, you go, well, gosh, makes it kind of unfair. Well, the great thing about Mark Cuban, though, is he actually is sharing that knowledge. And that's really where you want to be at. You want to be where the guy is actually sharing some of that knowledge, and he's saying, well, you know what? I might have knowledge that you don't have, but I'm going to share my knowledge with you. And as a result of that, you're going to be smarter. So he's given you some tips, and he's called it the knowledge advantage. And that's what we're really going to take a look at today. So I'm going to slide this over that way a little bit. And one of the things he says, why take chances in the stock market if you know nothing about the stock market? And if you don't know anything about the stock market, why would you even get involved in it? But there are some things that you do know about, that you're passionate about, that you probably should take a look at. And so that's kind of one of the things that he's trying to gear you towards. Focus on the things that you know the best, the things that you're passionate about, especially the things you're passionate about. Because there's some things that I could get involved in, but I'm not passionate about them. I'm just really not. I'm not really a big numbers guy. It's not that I can't do numbers. It's just I'm not passionate about it. I am more passionate about getting knowledge out to you folks. That's really what I'm more passionate about. I'm more passionate about speaking in front of people and just kind of sharing knowledge with people. I'm more passionate about that than anything else. So that's what I do. But he has a thing. It's called the leveraging the knowledge advantage, and he gives you a couple of different tips to help you out. And how many tips he's got? He's got 3 or 4 tips. It says, don't have decades of experience in a certain industry yet. You can still run to the front of an industry by prioritizing the assimilation of new information on a regular basis. Here are a few tips to jumpstart your lucrative learning effort. Okay. And really, it's all about effort. It's all about learning. Okay. So we're going to run out of time. Let's do this. Let's take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Mark Cuban, and we're going to talk about the knowledge advantage. I think you're going to really dig this. This is Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. We'll be back in just a second. Bum, 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 boom. Ooh, that sounds terrible. I want to apologize for you if that's. Oh yeah, we're not gonna. That's just terrible. We're gonna. We'll have to let that one go just a second, folks. All right, I'm going to share this to another page here real quick, and then we're going to get started here. All right. So, okay. So, Mark Cuban. Let's talk a little bit about. So let's talk a little bit about Mark Cuban, and Mark Cuban is talking about a really kind of a neat idea, and it's called the knowledge advantage. And so he gives you kind of a. Let me write down something here. Gives you some ideas to leverage your knowledge, your learning career. And you know what? I tend to listen to guys like this because the guy's a billionaire. So he's been able to leverage his small company. He was one of the first guys to get involved in the internet radio scene. And so when he was able to do that and he sold that company for like $1 billion, all of a sudden he became rich overnight. So you listen to guys like that. I mean, you tend to listen to guys like that. So he says, read and absorb. One of the first things he says, read and absorb information ravenously. Ravenously. You don't know what you don't know. As Mark Cuban points out, it only takes one nugget of insight to take yourself and your business to a totally new level. Make it a priority to regularly absorb new information. And this is a common thread that I see among pretty much every really ultra rich person, is that they spend a lot of time reading and a lot of time absorbing knowledge. I mean, they don't. I think Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading. That's huge. 80% of his day is reading, and the rest of it, other 20% of his day is actually kind of going into his business and signing checks. But I know that would be great, wouldn't it? Just go in and sign checks. But yeah, that's really pretty much what he says. He says he spends most of his time really just trying to absorb knowledge. And so you need to be a voracious reader. You can see behind me, folks, I read a lot. I mean, I do. I read an awful lot. I've got near my bed, I've probably got 4 or 5 books that I'm always reading, trying to get more knowledge in me. I find that each day, and this is what Warren Buffett said, he said, you want to go to bed every day having learned something new every day. So every day you need to have gone to bed learning something new. And pretty much every day I do something new, even if it's a little thing. You're making progress every single day. Number 2, according to Mark Cuban, talking about the knowledge, your learning advantage. Number 2, pick material that changes your brain. Okay, this is interesting. University study found that learning complex new information, such as another language, slowed the onset of Alzheimer's disease and significantly more than a control group. Complex problem solving is good to practice, but it will build mental resilience, which you'll ultimately need as an entrepreneur. So doing something that kind of gets your brain jumping, get your brain moving around, really important. One of the things I do also is if you want to learn how to play guitar, you know what I mean? That's very interesting. Playing an instrument. A lot of guys actually spend a lot of time learning new languages, playing instruments, that kind of stuff, and it just kind of helps out a lot. Number three, stay up to date on industry trends. As markets evolve and shift, new opportunities for business solutions appear each and every day. It's not just what you know, it's when you know it. Okay, so keeping up with your industry is important. I mean, if you don't know what's going on in the industry, it's really tough to tell people about what's going on, and it's tough to move forward. So you're moving to the left, your industry is going to the right. So you need to begin to study it, find out what's going on, what's new in the market. Matter of fact, I was speaking with a business associate yesterday, and we were talking about a new announcement that just come down. It's going to probably affect the entire country. And this person didn't know. They go, wow, I had no idea that even happened. I go, well, yeah, it just happened. It just happened like an hour ago. So it's because I keep up with this stuff. I have to. I mean, I've got a bunch of business owners that I've got to be, accountable to. And so you've got to kind of keep up with this stuff. So those were great. That was great advice from Mark Cuban. Let's talk a little bit. Let me give you a really feel-good story. Okay, I'm going to go a little long in this segment. I hope you don't mind. There was her name is her name is Holly Harper, and Holly Harper has a really neat story. Her story is about being a comedian, and actually, at least she wrote this story, anyways. And she's talking about how she really felt inadequate, and she felt inadequate as a comedian, but she loved comedy. It's from a little kid. She was from a little kid. She loved comedy, and she wanted to be a comedian. She loved Joan Rivers, and I think when she was 12, 15 years of age, her mom got her a Joan Rivers tape, and she wore the thing out. And so she spent day and night just writing jokes all the time. Well, she finally got her big break when at this bar that she was working in, the headliner didn't show up. So they said, hey, can you go up there and check, do a comedy routine? And so she went up and she did it. Well, but she still felt inadequate about being a comedian, even though she was actually pretty good at it, I guess. And so she ended up going into sketch comedy, and then she kind of went back, but she always wanted to, her love was really for stand-up comedy. Well, as the story goes, she ended up starting or found a nonprofit called Stand Up Girls. Okay, Stand Up Girls. And what Stand Up Girls is, it's actually it's a nonprofit founded by Holly Weiss, whose core mission is to educate, inspire, and equip girls for underserved communities with community skills necessary to succeed in and lead male-dominated workplaces. So this is interesting, though. The girls learned to get confident in what they were in traditionally, I guess, male-dominated industries like comedy. Most comedians, if you think about it, most comedians are probably guys, just because we have more insecurities, I guess. But so that's where she's at. So anyways, she's hosting a virtual fundraiser. All of this I said to say this. She's hosting a virtual fundraiser October 29th, which is probably today, I think. Yeah, it's today at 7:30 Eastern. So it's this evening. And you can, I would just Google it. So Google Stand Up Girls, New York City, or NYC.org. Okay. Stand Up Girls, NYC.org. And you can get more information on that. It's really just a great opportunity for you to actually, speak into the lives of young women, because they're doing great work. As Holly was talking about, she was saying that even though she was really good at being a comedian, she still felt very, very inadequate as a comedian. Um, and nobody wants to be that way. And so Stand Up Girls is doing a great job for young women, and you can be a part of it. So, anyways, we're gonna take a real short break. We'll be back just a second, folks. All right. Boom. 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 Mm. Mm. Oh, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Damon John, because Damon's got some really good stuff, some advice for entrepreneurs building business for entrepreneurs in 2020. All right, ready to come back, folks? I've got a busy, busy day today, guys. A really super busy day. All right, let's get this date. Let's get this show back on the road. And we're back, folks. It's Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine podcast. And I'm learning how to say that really quick now. Black Success Magazine podcast. And where we really focus on the people, the places, and the trends that, we really believe that people of color, pretty much anybody is really can benefit from. So we come to you each and every single day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to about 9:15ish or so. Take about a half an hour, and then we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, on Black Success Magazine podcast, or Black Success Magazine on Face Mask, or Face Mask. I know I'm thinking about this so much because we're in that whole COVID thing. It's almost. What is it? Halloween. It's just right around the corner. So, some of you are probably wearing that. My wife's got to get a kitty cat ears. She wants these kitty cat ears for her costume. So I have to get some of those for her today because we've got a function to go to this afternoon. So we're talking a little bit today about, started off the show talking about Mark Cuban. Had some great ideas and some great insights and tips for business owners. Transition a little bit to Damon John. Damon John, who is the founder of FUBU, For Us and By Us. He gives some great tips for him also. And once again, most people are saying the same thing. One of the things that Damon is talking about, he says, knowing your own limitations is nearly as important as knowing what makes you successful. He went on to say that offer several thoughtful takeaways that apply to founders at every stage of building and running their companies. So if you're founding a company, Damon John gives some of his insight into what he believes are some of the things that you probably need to keep in mind. But he spins it just a little bit more. So Damon John starts off by saying the same thing as Mark Cuban, and this makes sense. Never stop learning. Just never stop learning. During COVID pandemic, John has been stuck at home as much as anybody else, and so he spent his time doing what? taking digital courses and taking as many as he possibly can. One of my other, and I've done the same thing, just take as many classes, as many things, because you may never get this opportunity again. I mean, where you can actually just focus in on you, which is great. Um, I need to know better the cost of customer acquisition these days. I need to make more informed decisions as an investor, he admitted. So he's delving into whatever he can to find on the internet and marketing, digital conversion tactics, and more. Never stop learning. That's what true entrepreneurs do, he said. They learn slowly and they're in for it for the long haul. So I love this guy. I mean, I really do. Number two, he says, always take care of current customers before trying to find new ones. Aha. So, and this is interesting because a lot of people, they're just kind of packing that pipeline. They're saying, look, I've got these guys that I love, but I'm looking for new people all the time. So he says, no, take care of those people first. Okay. Because it costs you a lot of money to get those people. And that's why he was taking this class on customer acquisition. John said he learned this tip from spending time with billionaires who've built their wealth over time. When he advises companies, he always favors ones that are looking to scale versus those who are trying to move into new markets. He likens it to McDonald's tactic of sizing a customer's fries. Okay, it's very hard to acquire, and this is very interesting. He says very hard to acquire new customers rather than upsetting them. He said, before you look for new customers, take care of the ones you already have already. Take care of those customer complaints already. They're raising their hands and saying, I need more love. Okay. Take care of them and they'll be your customers and they'll be your ambassadors. Damon John, very good stuff. I like that. Number three says investigate the root of your failures. Okay, investigate the root of your failures. John admitted that at this point in his life, he still finds himself reevaluating missteps he's made over his career. This honest self-reflection has helped him realize that his failures typically happen for one of three different reasons. Great self-reflection. In the beginning, his lack of financial intelligence was mostly to blame. But then once he remedied that shortcoming, he threw his money at too many businesses without really peeling back the layers to understand them. Very good, Damon. Finally, ego got in the way. There were times when he thought, because I'm Damon John, obviously, I can help because you stamped my name on your business. The reality is Damon John has to get up and get his blank to work like everyone else. Being honest with himself has meant he's very careful about how many things he says yes to. I like it. You know, Damon John's it's very insightful that you look at yourself and you go, you know what? I've been making a lot of mistakes. I've been getting involved in too many things. I've been doing too much, trying to make things happen. Haven't been taking care of the customers I have already. And as a result of that, you know, and even as I'm speaking about that, I'm just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I do that all the time. And I don't reevaluate and you learn something. You don't take care of the people you already have. And as a result of that, you're always moving into new realms. So that's very, very, very interesting. Okay. So let's do this. Let's take another break. Sorry about that. And we'll be back in a second with Black Success Magazine podcast. Sherman Ray. We'll talk to you in just a second. Oh, yeah. What a great revelation. Yeah. I really like that revelation. Huh. I like that one. We might just go back over this. I think we go over things so quickly that we tend to forget what we've been talking about here. All right, let's come back to this because I really. Oh, sorry. All right, and we are back, folks. This is Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. In our last segment, we were talking a little bit about Damon John, and Damon brought up something that I think, if you look at it and you just kind of gloss over it, you can just go over it too quickly. And even as it spoke to me, and it really just kind of spoke to me about the things that we do as entrepreneurs that we probably don't even think about. And it could be really just it's a lesson that we need to learn. We need to learn it really quick before it becomes something terrible. And one of the things that Damon said is that always take care of your current customers before trying to find new ones. Okay. Try to take care of your current customers before trying to find new ones. And I think sometimes we don't think about that enough, like we should. How many customers? The cost of customer acquisition can be pretty high. Your customers, and I would say on average, it's probably about $200 that you're going to spend per customer. Depends on what you're doing, but it's pretty much on average about $200 for you to get a customer. And if you're having to churn and you're having to spend all your time trying to find new customers all the time, that's $200 every time, $200 every time. And the cost to keep a customer, though, is much lower than it is to find one. And then that person becomes your ambassador to find other people, which now you're not having to spend any money on. Okay. So it makes more sense for you to spend more time trying to take care of these people and really trying to speak into their lives and to make them happy and overcoming any complaints they have. If they have any complaints about what's going on, you probably need to just address it and say, hey, what can I do? What can I do to help you? Because I want to keep you as my customer forever. And so that's something we really should invest in, reinvest some time in is, okay, how can I help this customer? How can I help this person be my customer for life? And I think we just overlooked that. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up, because I do that all the time. I mean, I do that. And I think it's the mentality is that you're always trying to put people in that pipeline or put clients in that pipeline or put prospects in that pipeline. But there's a difference between that sales and owning a business where your idea is to actually accumulate people, okay, or accumulate sales or to build a community. Okay, I think that's probably a better way of putting it, to build a community, because really that's what it's all about. It's about building a community. That's why your customer sales or your customer service team needs to be all over it. I mean, they just need to be all over it and say, okay, I'm here to help and to answer any questions you have. I'm not here to just speak. I'm here to help you out as quickly as I can. So that's really just super important. So what we're going to do here, what time is it now? Because we're going to run out of time. So what we're going to do, folks, for those of you who are with us on Facebook, we're probably going to end the show real quick because we've got some other things that we're going to take care of. But we want to thank you folks for being a part of the show. And we're going to probably cut the show just a little bit short today, but that's all right. It's all good. So we'll be back again tomorrow with Black Success Magazine, the podcast. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, folks. It's been Sherman Ray, and we'll talk to you again. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.